I would like to introduce first our current NAR president, Kevin Brown, who must love that he is here with snow and 0-degree temperatures coming from California.
Just like home.
He is the broker owner of Better Home Realty and Brown Commercial Investment Real Estate Service. He is a second-generation real estate professional with 47 years experience and manages and runs the family business his father started over 55 years ago. Please welcome Kevin. Also joining us today is NAR's immediate past president, Kevin Sears. From just down the road in Springfield, Massachusetts, Kevin is a broker associate with Lamachia Realty. Is that correct?
Lamachia.
Lamachia Realty. That is not correct. And has served nearly 2 years as NAR president. Kevin has also served as chairman for the Massachusetts Real Estate Commission for 11 years. So I ask all of you again to please welcome them to the stage.
Just keep on sucking you back in.
Get that going. Well, I want to thank you both for being here, taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us, and we are truly honored to have both of you with us today. So to start, I'd like to ask both of you, maybe for both of you to have an opportunity to tell us what your current goals are for the upcoming year.
So, my goals for NAR is that our organization is member-centric, mission-driven, and forward-looking. I think that if you look at Kevin, what he did the last 2 years, I won't talk about here, I don't want to steal your thunder, but he got back to basics. My focus is getting the organization, now that it's stabilized, back to business. We want to make sure that we're providing our members with the very best tools, technology, market intelligence possible. You just had Lawrence Yoon on. He is a treasure trove of information for our industry, and we have access to him. All of us have access to him. So we want to stay on focus. We want to be mission driven. The other thing, my goal is to help our members understand exactly what we do. We travel all over the country, talk to people all the time, meet with brokers, meet with members. You guys are the most engaged members because you're here. But there's a whole group of members that don't come to these meetings regularly, and they really don't understand our business. They don't understand what NAR does for them. They don't understand our ecosystem. And so one of my goals this year is to help them to connect the dots. Of course, we all know that we have to preserve the American dream of home ownership. And we all know how that American dream of home ownership earned its moniker by providing safety, security, prosperity, intergenerational wealth, economic independence for decades to American citizens. But our industry is also the American dream. And I was raised, I'm second generation realtor. I think Kevin, you're second or third. We didn't come from big companies. You didn't come from a big company, did you? And so the fact that I really feel that this profession is the last bastion of entrepreneurialism in America. I mean, there aren't a lot of professions where you can hang your own shingle and take that risk and have the possibility or potential of having large rewards. That is the American dream. And as far as I'm concerned at NAR, I don't want to focus just on one thing, one size, whether it's a large broker or just on a small broker. I want NAR to support the entire ecosystem, no matter if you want to take that risk and start your own real estate company, or if you're a big broker, and we want to make sure we have tools to support big brokers as well. So those are I can go on and on about that, but those are my basic goals.
Thank you very much. Kevin?
So Ron, I'm going to answer the question a little differently. I don't necessarily have goals for 2026, rather focus. And so what am I going to focus on in 2026? First of all, I'm going to enjoy being past president. I'm going to focus on supporting Kevin Brown and his team, the leadership team, in delivering the goals that we set out through the strategic plan that was passed by the executive committee in November in Houston and presented to the board of directors and took effect on January 1st. And we have some actionable goals in that strategic plan to make our organization better. And so I'll focus on supporting Kevin and Nakia Wright, our CEO, and the team in accomplishing the priorities of the strategic plan. And then finally, it's, as Kevin said, advocating and lobbying for not only the pursuit of the American dream, but your ability to be able to help the American consumer in achieving that American dream. You probably heard me say this before, but there is no New York State Association of Home Buyers, New York State Association of Home Sellers. It's New York State Association of Realtors, just like the National Association of Realtors. And we're the ones who on a daily basis help New Yorkers and Americans achieve the American dream. So that's my focus.
Thank you. It's great that Kevin Sears has chosen to enjoy his immediate past president role for being here and continuing to work. So thank you.
Hey, listen, I consider this being at home. I get to drive here. I didn't have to take a plane, so this is good.
Kevin Brown, we've heard that you've committed to getting NAR back to business. Can you explain what this means and the role of the strategic plan in those efforts?
Sure. It means helping our members navigate the issues that are impacting their day-to-day business, like finance, insurance, inventory, zoning barriers, and other barriers to home ownership. Those are the core things that our members are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And when I met with Nakia and staff, I told her that the member on the ground, that's the only thing that they care about, is how they're going to get to and execute their next transaction. There's a lot of very complex, complicated things that we do, but that the member really is not involved in or doesn't want to be involved in. But what they do want to be involved in are those core issues at the local level where they have to execute and get to their next transaction. It also means leveling up on areas that our members already find valuable, like our amazing advocacy program, our research, cutting edge research that we provide to our members, and also tech tools that we provide. And so as far as the strategic plan goes, I'm very excited about the implementation of the strategic plan. It focuses on pushing our transformation forward. There are two main pillars within the plan that is our North Star, and that's rebuilding the member experience and modernizing the organization. And there are metrics built in to the strategic plan to measure our results. We went out and we surveyed and had focus groups and face-to-face meetings with over 150,000 of our members. And we didn't just pick members that agreed with NAR. We specifically chose three groups of people: members that were pro-NAR, members that were against NAR, and members that that had left the industry. And a lot of things, especially the focus groups, are not really, I would say, what NAR wanted to hear, but it's what NAR needed to hear. That was some of the most valuable information, especially the people that have complaints about NAR. So we're listening. So that is our back to business mentality and focus for this year.
Great, thank you. It is one thing to create a plan, but it's another thing to deliver results. So Kevin Sears, how will NAR hold itself accountable in implementing the strategic plan and measuring its success?
So there are over 75 priorities in the strategic plan, and Kevin touched on it. It's like a plan that I've never seen before in the two aspects. And the first is to modernize, to improve the enterprise, the business of the association. And then second, the member experience. And for all of the priorities that have been identified, on a quarterly basis, Nakia Wright, our CEO, is going to meet with the senior vice presidents to go over what they've accomplished in that quarter, to make sure that they are following the plan and executing on the plan. So there's going to be a measurable a measurable way to identify that they're meeting the priorities. But secondly, there's going to be a reporting mechanism, and Nakia is going to be giving an update on a quarterly basis to the executive committee at the National Association of Realtors. Now, obviously, we'll share the information with the board of directors as well, and hopefully it will make its way to you, the member on the street, that we are measuring the progress and then accountable to the progress. So it's built right in, and Nakia Wright, she became our permanent CEO, and which we were thrilled about, and she wants to see this plan successful, not only for the members, but for the organization and the association.
Can I add something to that?
Please, of course.
Kevin, you just mentioned something, modernizing the association, and just to give you an example, I mean, what some people may not know what that means. I'll just give you a small example, because we're looking at every single aspect of the organization, what needs to be brought up to date. Our accounting system is 40 years old. Just think if you were using software from 40 years ago trying to conduct business today.
They still have the abacus.
So one of the first things that Nakia did when she came in is, number one, she fired our accountant, got a new accountant to represent the organization. Secondly, we're updating our software system. It's going to take about a year for the transition. But today, the future is AI. And in terms of determining who our members are and what resources we need for each segment of our member profile, we can't do that right now because we can't collect data. What is AI dependent on? It's dependent on data. So you're going to see a lot of things that are transitioning, but a lot of things are improving in the future, in the near future.
Great, thank you. To both of you, we've started a new year, but there are some old problems that continue to persist, including low housing supply and a lack of affordable housing. How is NAR working to increase supply and address affordability?
So you heard Dr. Yoon talk about some of the things that we're doing. Obviously, we are advocating on your behalf with Congress. I had the great honor of representing our 1.5 million Realtor members in December and testifying before the House Financial Services Committee, and this is exactly what we talked about. I gave them a real life example. In 1996, I bought my first home for $83,000. The day before I testified, hopefully my son, my oldest, will become a homeowner this year. He sent me a text about a home he wanted to get information on, a starter home in the Boston area, $850,000. Less than 30 years, it would be 10 times more expensive for him to buy a home than it was for me. I can tell you he's not making 10 times the salary that I was making 30 years ago. So affordability is a real issue, and so we're talking with not only Congress, but I know you're doing it here in Albany as well, based on what Ron said with Governor Hochul's State of the State address. But the capital gains exemption on a primary residence is $250,000 for a single person, $500,000 for a married couple, was set in 1997. It hasn't been indexed for inflation, hasn't been adjusted in almost 30 years. And through the More Homes on the Market Act, in that bill that's in Congress right now, it would double that exemption. Right now, 34% of households would be impacted by that low capital gains exemption. So we believe that if we increase the capital gains exemption, some of the boomers that are sitting on properties that don't want to sell and pay the taxes might actually say, hey, let's downsize, let's move. And so we're trying to provide them with a roadmap to increase inventory. And then there's just one other thing I'll share with you. There were more homes on the market in 1995 than there are now. And we have 75 million more people in this country right now. So we've severely underbuilt in the last 15 years between 4 and 5 million units. And so if we can reduce red tape, and I talked to members of Congress about this, reduce red tape at the federal level and then incentivize states and locals to reduce red tape, we can get more construction going. And that's what we need to do is we need to build more to get us out of it, but also improve the tax structure so that we can motivate people to sell.
Thank you. That statistic about 1995, that's pretty startling. Kevin Brent?
Yeah, just to add on to that, if you said it was about 34% right?
34%.
And I think by 2030, it's supposed to be 56% of homeowners are above that $250,000 threshold. So you see the progression and where it's going. Something has to be done now. That represents about 48 million homeowners. Something has to be done now. The one good thing, and we have a two-pronged approach. One is tax, that Kevin just talked about. The other is regulatory. The tax, people are locked in for two reasons. A, they have a very low interest rate, or B, because they either don't want to pay the tax or can't afford to pay the taxes. So if we can pass one of these bills now, and there's two bills that are being considered. There is Jimmy Panetta's bill out of California, that's More Homes on the Market Act, like Kevin said, where it doubles capital gains exclusion goes from 250 and 500 up to 500 and $1 million. It doubles that exclusion, it indexes for inflation. It has not, this law is 30 years old and it wasn't indexed for inflation, so it fixes some of the things for the future. So we're not coming back and doing this 10 years from now. And if we can do that, it's instant inventory on the market. So you don't have to build a house. You don't have to go through a long waiting period. And some of my clients have actually called me and asked me, are these things going to pass? Is this real? I want to sell my house. So they're kind of waiting to see what's going to happen. Both those bills, Marjorie Taylor Greene has a bill where there are no taxes at all, zero taxes. And but they score differently, of course.
Well, she had a bill. She couldn't get the Democrat co-sponsor because she's was a firebrand on both sides of the aisle, but she's not in Congress anymore.
That's right.
But we do have members of Congress on both sides of the aisle that said, we'll pick up that bill. Now that she's out of Congress,
That's right.
we'll pick it up. And it's important for us to have support on both sides of the aisle.
Yeah, that's the important thing. It's bipartisan. It's bipartisan.
That sounds great. We can all hope that that happens in the near future. Kevin Sears, there's been a lot of changes in our industry and in our
Has there?
well, except for the year and a half, 2 years that you were president, it was very calm. Wasn't much going on.
You know, I'm writing a book, and I don't know if it's going to be a short story or fiction, but the working title is How to Lead in Boring and Uneventful Times. Sorry, go ahead, your question?
No, I'm hoping I can write the same book at the end of this year. How would you respond to somebody asking the question, what value does NAR provide for its members?
Yeah, so that is a question, and I'm sure that you get in your local market and here at NYSAR, and it's being able to prove to the members the value. And the first thing is what we've just been talking about, the advocacy and lobbying that we do on not only your behalf, but your customers and clients' behalf. And take pride in that. And one of the things that we found through the research that Kevin was talking about that we did with over 150,000 members and non-members alike is that sometimes people misunderstand advocacy. And so we're starting to use the word lobbying again too, because lobbying isn't an ugly four-letter word anymore. But it tells more directly what we are doing. We are lobbying on your behalf. So the world-class research that Dr. Lawrence Yoon has and he shared with you, and then just being able to provide technology and tools to our members. Through our Second Century Ventures, we've got hundreds of companies who at one point or another wanted to disintermediate, replace you as a realtor. Well, what they've come to realize is if we can make the realtor more successful, we'll be more successful. And so take advantage of the tools that are available through Second Century Ventures and the National Association of Realtors. So, I mean, I could, like Kevin said earlier, I can go on, and talk to you more, but those are just a few right off the top of my head.
No, great. And there are so many tools, as both Kevins are attesting to at NAR, and probably preaching to the choir, but go to NAR, go to their website, and look at the tools that are there. I mean, me personally, I use those reports that every week there's a new one. How to buy a home, how to sell a home, what to ask a home. So I have a sales meeting every week because they just keep going on, and it's such great, valuable information.
Well, and one of the things that Dr. Yoon and his staff have done is they have a market report, and more markets are going into this. But they started with the top 50 markets across the country, but it's going to expand. So go in and hopefully, you know, maybe Buffalo is already in there. Obviously, New York City would be in there as one of the biggest ones, but maybe Albany or you know, others. So take a look at those reports. They will differentiate you from your competition. Use the RPR reports, Realtors Property Resource, that you're paying for. So utilize those because we know that not all the members are, and it will differentiate you.
For sure.
You know, I just want to say, just to your point about the advocacy versus lobbying, how many people know that last year, 2024, 2025, good job, Kevin, in advance, that we had over 5,000 meetings with Congress or their staff. How many people know that? How's that possible, right? There's nobody else that can do what we do. So to your point, a lot of people think that, oh, they're doing advocacy, they're just writing a letter. No, we had 5,000 meetings in 2024 leading up to tax reform. We had 5,000 meetings last year. If you add up all the members of Congress, we have a federal political coordinator assigned to each one, plus we have about 10 lobbyists, I think, 9 or 10 lobbyists. So that's probably about 7 or 8 meetings a year per person. 535 congressional delegates, you do the math. Those are 535 FPCs plus the lobbyists. So it's amazing. There's no other industry in the United States that is connected to the fabric of communities the way that realtors are. And we're able to, that's how we're able to talk to Congress and have them talk to them to solicit a policy response when we need a policy response. And a good example is tax reform, where we defeated the 11 ugly tax measures and got 10 of our main tax measures signed into law. Anyway, sorry.
Don't be sorry. Several of us were in DC several weeks ago, and when I heard that stat about 5,000 meetings, I said what you said, how is that possible? But it's an incredibly impressive statistics, and it shows what we're doing. So that's truly impressive. Last question, Kevin Brown, as NAR leadership is working to build a stronger, more resilient NAR. How can we and all of our members help in that regard?
Well, for one, you can talk to your customers and clients about the realtor difference. I mean, there is a difference between a realtor and just a licensee. We abide by code of ethics, and we have a higher degree of professionalism as opposed to like just a licensee. So that's one difference. The other thing to do is we need to be able to hear from you. We want to hear from you. We have a lot of changes that are being made at NAR. There's a lot of new products and a lot of new services that are coming on board. We have this new strategic plan where we're going to be we're going to be held accountable for providing services and value to the members. If you see something that's wrong, raise your hand. Let us know if we're doing something wrong. Your name and number is not going to go down in a little black book. We really do want to hear from you. And then thirdly, share how much value there is in your NAR membership with your colleagues and peers, and in turn, how much we value our members. And I think together this is part, Nakia calls it the greatest real estate comeback in the history of real estate, in the history of the industry, and I truly believe that.
I think that's an accurate description, for sure. Luckily for all of us, we have a few minutes. So if any of you have any questions that you'd like to ask, please raise your hand and someone will come over with a mic and you could ask your question. We have a few minutes for that. So please raise your hand if you have a question.